I've got in my hands a Srixon ZX Utility Mark II 2-iron. And I've also got in my hands a Srixon ZX Utility Mark II 2-iron with a very different shaft. So the first one I'm using is a graphite shaft recoil dart F4. This is one of the standard shafts that you'll find in this club. And the second shaft you won't find in this club very often, unless it's custom built, but I'm looking at the concept of what a heavier, stiffer shaft does in these heads. So disclaimer, I have actually built this club for a customer. It's in the wrapper right now. I'm gonna take the wrapper off, and I've been given permission to hit 3 shots off a tee with it. Thank you, James. So sometimes we might choose a club like this, which is like a 2-iron utility, when we've got like a tight narrow fairway, or we're trying to create a distance that gives us a better distance for the next shot in. We don't always want to rely on the driver. We sometimes want something in the bag that we can call upon, maybe into wind or on a bad day when your driver is misbehaving. So I'm going to get some baseline shots with the standard stock 2-iron in this, or 2 utility club. And I'm going to thin slap the pants off it. That is awful. Okay, ignore that one. Let me have a couple of shots to warm up. Okay, warm up complete. This ball is called ball D for dart, and I'm just going to hit 3 shots at that fairway just to get a feel for what the club does. A nice high draw, creating lots of height and landing fairly soft at around 240. It's in the bunker, but it's at that sort of 250 mark, 249 there. I'm looking at the spin rates and the height that the club creates. So I'm finding this quite easy to hit the ball up to the left-hand side, which is a common fault of mine. Got through that. The ball speed feels really good, but it is very easy to hit a high draw that has missed most fairways. I mean, if you're looking for a driving iron that's got a bit of forgiveness, and we're looking at the recoil dart in this sort of club, the dart does help the ball get airborne, it does help the ball get left, so it's probably one of the easier driving irons out there to be looking at. Because generally speaking, with less loft in a sort of 2-irony area of club, we're looking at something that could squirt the ball low and right in general for most golfers. Bit cleaner off the face. I'm definitely getting that high draw quite easily. I've had to work quite hard to hold that off to the right hand side. In my favourite bunker there at 248 again. My voice does get quite high pitched sometimes, doesn't it? Gonna go one more for luck in this. I've got quite a similar grip as well, so I've got the +4 grips. +4 grips on both clubs. They're slightly thicker on this bottom half, so my right hand has a bit more girth to hold on to, so it is harder to turn the ball to the left in theory, but worst case scenario, it just takes the edge off it and it does feel a bit better for me. And there we go, quite a nice shot, launching nice and high, floating round into the fairway. It's got some decent ball speed on it, in my favourite bunker. Right, James, look at this. That is my favourite thing to do on a golf club. And then we rock up to the shaft. It's a C-Taper 130X. It's heavier and it's a flex stiffer than the recoil dart. Let's call this ball C for C-Taper. And the countdown begins. I have got 3 shots available to me. I'm going to put the same target in my mind. I'm going to put the same swing in my mind. Caught it a touch high on the face, which will launch the ball a little bit higher. Definitely harder to swing to the left. Just shy on carry, but I'd put the strike down to that a little bit. I have got exactly the same swing weight as the other club as well, so the swing weight won't make a difference in terms of release and feel. Still maintaining that high draw, which is quite nice. Testament to the forgiveness of this golf club in comparison to that. I've caught that off the toe, so that is going to turn over. Not a very good example, but ball speed still nice and healthy, carry about the same. Very much put that down to swing fault. All right, let's get right into the target. Really going to feed into that bit of the fairway. More solid strike. Still maintaining that draw, but definitely not curving over to the left as much. When I put a more stock swing on the ball, 249, same yardage. Very nice. Okay, right, 3 good shots. I'll be interested to see the peak height as one of the parameters that I'm looking at for the ball flight in these. Nice. Hitting the same shot more repeatedly. Apart from that one, granted, but that feels very, very solid in my favourite bunker. So I'm going to take out those couple of missed strikes. That one, and on the first normal stock shaft, there's one there that was terrible. So the peak height I've got there is actually higher, 41 yards against the stock shaft at 39. 41 yards of height on the C-taper against 39 on the stock shaft. I think that 39 is lower because I turn them over more. When I'm turning the club over more, I'm getting less loft and it's launching a bit lower. So because that C-taper's hung out to the right hand side, because it's harder to turn over, there's less bend and release into the ball with the C-taper. It doesn't shut the face down as much. The amount of draw spin on the stock shaft is 658 on average, and we're against 457 on average with the C-taper. C-taper I was a bit slower on average, but I did the first shot I hit was a missed strike, a little bit high on the face. Launch angle fairly similar, a touch higher. Spin actually spun a bit more, I think, because of that face being held open compared to that face shutting down with the dart shaft. Quite interesting. I'm slightly shorter there, carrying more with the recoil darts, but getting a very similar finishing distance. The main thing I'm looking at here is that tiny little circle there. That's the KBS C-taper, and then that bigger spread is the recoil dart. So the C-taper there didn't necessarily launch lower and spin less, which is what the textbook says it should do. It's given me a different parameter through the ball, and I've seen more difference in direction and finishing area than I have in the height of the ball. In any case, I hope that does help. The shafts that are on offer on the Strixon custom fitting list, there is quite a lot of choice there away from the recoil dart, but it is a very good club to use. If you get a lot more speed into the ball, you're a stronger player, you might want to look at some custom options in a custom order to see if you can get something that's a bit more stout that would maybe stop you hitting the ball left compared to that dart. And if you think you might struggle with a driving iron or a utility club, I think these are particularly forgiving with that recoil dart in there, so I think that would help you not leak the ball out to the right too easily. It's worth giving them a hit if you've got the chance to do that anywhere. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.